How do you avoid burnout? That's what we're talking about today on Set to Love with our guest, Scott Spears.
You can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality.
You are here to contribute through your essence, fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on.
Take what works, ditch the rest, and always stay set to love.
Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, Scott. Welcome. Nice
Good
to
morning.
see you.
Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's
Very
our
cool.
pleasure. It is our pleasure. You know, we got to just get straight into this because we've only got 15 minutes and your story and this topic is so important. So let's talk about burnout. But before we do, let me say hi to my best friend. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, you're this way.
Okay. I don't have it right either, but hi.
How was your weekend, Shelley?
It was fantastic. I got so many blessings, great friends, wonderful family and husband. I'm so blessed.
Oh,
I really am. It was memorable.
What a way to turn 60, right? Just to be surrounded by so many people who love you and just pouring out so much gratitude for you. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. So I'm so glad you had a beautiful weekend.
And you had a wonderful time with Emmy, right?
I did. I just love her so much. And every second I get with her, I'm so grateful for it. So it was a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And I was so excited. I'm like, yay, Scott's going to be on Monday because you, Scott, are so powerful in your message and your story. I mean, you talk about burnout. You lost your life to burnout. I mean, literally, right?
Yeah. I went the whole 9 yards on that, right? So
yeah. Tell us about that. Like, what happened, transpired, and then how did you get to this place? You know, becoming a wellness coach and dealing in time management, helping people so they don't have to go through the same things that you did.
Yeah, that's why I'm here today doing what I'm doing. Lo and behold, I never was really in touch with my intuition, although it was talking to me all throughout my life. And now when I was able to disconnect after all of this and take some time to reflect on why everything happened and look inwards, that's when I got in touch with the intuition, the inner voice, let's say, that was trying to warn me and steer me in different directions all throughout my life. But what happened is I was working as a global consultant for about 15 years, and I was doing many different projects, high-profile projects for a company that I was working for, and I was just doing too much. A lot of that had to do with ego, where I was feeling like Superman. Give it to me, I can handle it. I can show you that nothing is impossible. And that was just kind of always my motto. But after that, I was just like, no, after dying, because one night what happened?
Let's back up a second. You actually died. Isn't your anniversary of that tomorrow?
Tomorrow, actually, yeah. Wow. Yeah, tomorrow is my rebirth day, actually, is what I call it. Yeah.
How long ago?
So it was 4 years ago. 4 years ago tomorrow is when that happened. And it actually took me all this time to understand why that happened and to really come to grips and learn what I need to do and how can I help others that might be going down this path. And that's why I wanted to talk about burnout today, because it's just so important for us to be in touch with ourselves. And I remember my very first podcast was with you guys back in January. Thank you. Putting me on this path. This has been a fun journey, meeting people all over the world, doing this and talking about this. But I talked about time management, but before I jump into that, what happened is I was just doing way too much and I just crashed. My body just shut down. Really, it wasn't just my body, it was my mind. One night I just started having troubles breathing, and then I just passed out. Thank God my ex-girlfriend and her brother were there at the time, and they were able to revive me. And the more I talk about it, it's funny because I've been learning more, and more has been coming back to me the more I talk about it, of that experience, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like a lot of things that have happened in my life, major things, major events where, okay, if this happens, okay, get up, brush yourself off, keep going, keep going. And you don't take the time to look at, why did this happen? You know, or you feel like you're going to waste time if you take take that time apart and just look at and dissect, why did this happen, you know. And what happened to me, I died, I came back, I mean, that's a whole nother story, but time permitting, you know, I could
Yeah.
go into that some other time. But what what I focused on after that was purely my physical being. I just said, okay, well, okay, something happened to me, has to be related to the brain, nervous system, heart, whatever. So I went to the hospital and just did all the checks, and I just focused on myself for the next 3 years physically. But I was in good shape. I was eating properly, everything. And I found some issues with my nutrition. I was eating foods that I was intolerant to, that were adding to inflammation. But that wasn't the root cause, right? The root cause was actually, I wasn't happy. I was stagnant. I was in a place of my life where I was not moving forward. I was not uh, challenging myself. I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't contributing. And when I look back at that night, when I died and when I was laying there, I just remember this voice saying, "You still have more to do," right? And that's what really kind of shook me and kind of woke me up to come out of that. But I didn't really pay attention to it. Obviously, I was just like, okay, I got more to do. That means I got to work more, right? I've got to
Yeah.
continue to do what I'm doing. But I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And after 3 years, right before the pandemic, I spiraled into a deep depression. I had this tsunami of undesired circumstances, I call it in the clean version. And a lot of things happened and just took me deep into a depression. So, real quick, fast forward in the story, I went to India. I did a meditation for 10 days there, a silent meditation where I disconnected from everything. And what I learned there was the mind over matter trick, and how powerful the mind is, and how much control that has over us, not our bodies. Our bodies are just a vessel, right? I mean, of course we have to take care of it. We have to, you know, eat right. We have to keep working out. The physical part, the physical wellness is extremely important. But if you don't have that mental balance, that is where the burnout comes in. And that's what I wanted to say, because I mean, at the beginning, when the first time I was on your show, we talked about time management and the importance of time management. But when it comes to burnout, I say time management is only 20% of what you need to focus on. I mean, it's definitely important. It's the foundation of what you need to prevent burnout. But there's also the other 20% plus 20% plus 20%. I've got four more things that add up to 100%, and that's your physical, and those are surrounded by your energy, your physical energy, your emotional energy, your mental energy, and what I call your divine energy, your spiritual energy. And if any of those are off, you're going to be out of balance. And you might not recognize it, but other people will feel it. You know, when you can come into a room, you can come into a meeting and you sit down, and let's say the boss comes in, he's getting ready to do this meeting. You could feel what kind of meeting it's going to be just by that energy, right? If he or she comes in and is just a bad vibe, it's going to be a long day, right? So the main things is time management being 20%, then your physical energy, be it exercise, nutrition, your sleep, all of those are your physical energy. Those all account for your physical energy. Your emotional energy, which is like your feelings. How are you feeling? You sad, happy, motivated, your mood, your attitude. That's a big part of your energy. Your mental energy, your focus. How focused are you? You go into the day, and if you're just sitting down and the first thing you want to look at is Instagram or Facebook, then okay, you're not going to be very productive. Where's your mental energy? You need to be focused.
Mhm.
And
So,
and how, sorry, go ahead.
well, no, but I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
my question is, you were working. You died. You didn't come back from that and think, okay, hold on, I need to hit pause. I need to self-care. You literally burnt out. You woke up from that. You kept going for 3 more years. I mean, you
Yeah.
are resilient. That's what that tells me. But you just dug yourself deeper until you had this like spiritual awakening, this whatever, this trip to India. We've heard so many people on our show have come on and said they thought they were fine until they took a course or they had a trip. It was like some kind of transformational thing. But my question for you is, what would you tell someone? How would they recognize that? I mean, you had to go through almost like 2 really big slumps for it to like really become aware for you that that you were burning yourself out. How could someone not get to that place?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're saying it, but like, what are and you're talking about these things, but like, what can you go back to that time and say, this is what I was feeling? So if you were thinking this, if you were feeling this, this is your path.
Yeah, sorry for jumping in too
No,
fast
it's totally fine.
all
I
of
was
that.
thinking it, and then I'm like, I got it.
But no, that's an excellent question, Eva. And what I would say, what it did for me, what got me there was when I was in that depressed mode, and I was trying to do everything here in Colombia where I live right now. I was like doing my yoga, doing my meditation, but I was comfortable. I was in my home, I was in my apartment. Everything was accessible. And throughout my life, I have not really grown unless I've been uncomfortable, unless I've challenged myself. And I didn't really realize this until I looked in the mirror one day. This is after about a month of being in the depression. I lost 30 pounds. And yeah, it's tough. I mean, I look back on that and it still gets me because I still see that picture. And I look at myself in that mirror and I was like, that's not you. That's not you, dude. You got to do something. You have to put some work in, and you have to get out of here. You have to go somewhere that you have never been to. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. And yeah, India's got a lot of great, comfortable places, but I went to some places that are not luxurious, or it's like it's some work. You need to put everything else out of your mind and just focus on you. And that's basically what I did. I said, okay, I need help. That's number one. I needed to admit that I needed help. And when I did that, that was a big hurdle, because it's hard, especially for men in our society, to admit that you need help, especially mental help, because anybody says mental, then they're thinking automatically negative. Oh, this person's crazy. Pad the walls, But it's so important to take care of our mental health and to be in touch with our mental selves. It's so easy to go, I mean, before the pandemic especially, go to the gym and work out and get your physical self, in a good shape. But your mental health, we spend so little time focused on our mental health. That to me is the first thing that we need to do to stop the burnout. And that's where you start looking at your energy, start facing who you are. And it's tough. It's tough because our mind is always attracted to the easiest route. We don't want to deal with pain. We don't want to deal with any kind of suffering. So taking time out to just reflect on self and not anything else, just try to concentrate and focus on, who am I? Why am I this way? What do I want in this life? It's a tough journey to go through, but it's like everything. It's like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you're not going to get your guns that you want unless you're going every day and putting the work in, right? The same thing with your mind. You have to put the work in. And that's what I'm trying to help people with these days. through time management, then the life management portion, and then the self-management through my coaching.
I think the part that I see in you, Scott, that is so beautiful is that you're now not this macho guy who thinks you know everything about, that you're in control of your life and where you're going. Once somebody can admit that, that's what I'm getting from you, is that you got to let go, let spirit, let God, let whatever, to really come down to say, we don't do this in life by ourselves. And so you do have to connect. And I just think all of these things that you've said today are just so helpful when someone can see a strong man come from being, dying on the floor to coming back and giving back. It's just a beautiful thing. But mostly I love your vulnerability. I love that you're open about, you know what, I just didn't have it. I didn't hear the voice, and admitting all of those things, I think, is a huge step to being able to go forward. At least do you think that, Eva?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And just being able to be open and honest about where you are. And like you said, it took you 3 more years. I think when the older you get, don't you feel this way? Like you kind of get into these patterns of like what you think you need to be doing. And then it really took that moment for you to say, okay, hold on. I need to really hit pause and go and look within. Yeah. And then create some new practices. Is that what you did? You came back from India and just said, okay, new practices, and started looking at these different areas? Is that how you were able to really turn things around for yourself?
Yeah, I took some of the practices from India, obviously, and came back to Colombia to face the music, face real life. But for like the first month I was back, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just kind of like this vagabond dude, roaming Bogota, going to get my chai and listening to lectures, taking notes, and trying to find answers about me. I only scratched the surface when I was in India, and I was just so motivated. But the beautiful thing is exactly what you guys said, surrendering to the process. And that's the only way I was able to get to where I am now, because I used to be like the person that had to be in control of everything. And when I took that trip to India, that was the first time I just kind of said, okay, I'm going to buy a ticket and let's see what happens. I didn't plan the whole trip like I would normally plan, down to the minute, the hour, everything. Instead, I just went there and just kind of just went with it, just surrendered to it.
Went with the flow.
It went with the flow. Exactly.
Before we have to go, I have one last question for you. What do you do now? You figured a lot of these things out, but what do you do now, which I know you have to do something as a daily practice to keep yourself focused and still going forward and growing as a strong man and being happy in your life? Like, what are your daily things to keep you solid on what you've learned?
Great question.
Yeah, it's being in constant touch with myself, having a conversation with myself every day, because the most important conversation you're going to have in life is with yourself. Being honest. I wake up, I do some pranayama breathing exercises, which has really helped me health-wise for a lot of issues that I had before with my respiration. But also I do some journaling and I do meditation after that. And then at the end, those are the basics. And at the end of the day, I like to reflect. I like to look back on, okay, what did I accomplish today? What did I progress in today? Even if I didn't do everything that I wanted to do, I still made progress. I know I made progress somewhere. And I just have to be kind to myself, saying, okay, hey, you move forward in some way, but also challenging myself to a point where I have to be better the next day. Yeah. So it's not about taking an easy route. I still have to challenge myself. I still have to push myself. And part of that is trying to help others too, so that's where I am now. That's what I do on a daily basis.
I love it. I love that that you said this corporate life, this traveling the world, working for these big companies, doing all of that. Maybe it looks fancy, maybe it brings in the big paycheck or whatever the benefits were for you that, fills the ego. But at the
Right.
end of the day, it was literally killing you. And now you're choosing a life of service. You're choosing a life where you're taking all the things you learned in that business world, taking the good things from that, right? And then all the life lessons you've learned. And you're a wellness coach helping people so they don't go down that same path. So if there's someone, right, who's like that go, go, go type A, got to get it done, check, check, check. You can go, hold on, come back. Don't
Right,
get
right.
So I just want to honor you for really
Yes.
stepping into a new space. And you know what? Like people think that they can't reinvent themselves in life. And you're a perfect example of someone who has done that and in such a beautiful way. So thank you so much. And how can people get in touch with you? If they see themselves in you, if they're that person, they're like, yes, I was that, or I am that corporate person, or they just have hit that wall and they don't know what to do. And they're roaming around looking for that next thing and wanting to figure out how to not go down that road. Where can people connect with you?
Well, on this email here is my email address. Anybody can feel free to email me. Also on my Instagram, which is at time_life_self. I'm doing a self-growth roadmap for 2021 where I'm putting different time management tips, energy tips, transformation and mindfulness tips out there every day. Just to put that good energy out there. I mean, and if it resonates with anybody, and if anybody wants more information, hey, let's have a virtual coffee and just talk about it. You know, let's see where we can go.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Scott, so much. You do have an amazing Instagram. I love your weekend dares. So thank you so much for putting those out there for us. So everyone follow him. I will make sure in our show notes, everywhere where you can find Scott will be there. Thank you, best friend, for being here today.
Love you.
Thank you,
so
Scott.
much.
Hang on. Let me send everyone else out. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us always at settolove.com. You can also email us at settolovepodcast@gmail.com with any questions that you might have. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. We have a great week planned, and we cannot wait to be sharing it with you. Thank you again, Scott, so much for being here.
Thank you, ladies.
Hit the bell.